So we stored a uint of type unsigned integer of 256 bytes. And we are gonna see other types. So now what we're gonna try to do is to store a string. Sorry. The reason why I'm going to store a string is to show you that not always I can directly do this kind of set function. So if I have a string, let's say string my name, alright, and I wanna do exactly the same as before. So I wanna set and get this my name value. So I'm gonna have a function set name. What I'm going to retrieve in here, I'm going to retrieve a string, and let's see that the value is my new name, and this one is a public function. If I'm going to try to use this directly, so I'm going to do exactly the same I did before, my name is equal to my new name, and then I hit compile. So Ctrl S, I'm actually going to get an error. Can you see this little dot? Now, what Solidity is telling me is that I have to specify a data location. A data location, essentially, it's where this value is going to be stored. Okay, it's a data location. So if we go to the documentation, the data location rule, we have to specify these three values, either memory, storage, or call data. What is the difference between those three? So when we can keep looking at the documentation, let's have a look at memory first. So what are the differences between these three keywords, storage, memory, and call data? Let's make this page a little larger. So when we declare that it's going to be in storage, the variable is a state variable and this is stored essentially forever. It means it's going to be stored on the blockchain and it's not just used for the transaction that we are currently doing. The second one, which is the one I'm going to use for my example, it's one in which the variable is in memory and it exists only while the function is being called. It means that here, if I'm going to specify the memory keyword, then this variable exists, but only in the period of time in which this function is being executed, and then it's going to be discarded. The last one, it's a call data, and this one is a little bit more special. It means that it's only available to call external functions. So the way we're going to use our data here, it's this one. We're going to use the memory for our example. So here we're going to add the keyword memory. And now if I hit save again, you can see that this warning actually compile error goes away and I can actually deploy. But I want to show you another thing, that this string value, I don't necessarily have to do a get function for this simple string value. I can simply say that this one is a public, save, and then I can actually deploy this contract that I've just created, and I'm gonna get a new deployed contract. As you can see, although I don't have a second getter for my name, because I declared this function as public, I can actually access it. And now I can actually save my name. So I can say, for example, my name, and then call the function, I do a transaction, my account gets depleted of whatever the transaction cost is, and then if I click on this my name, I actually get the value stored in this function. Okay, so now that we saw simple types, you might wonder about collections. What is a collection? A collection is a set of entities that have some common data. These are referred as lists, collections, arrays, depending on the programming language you might be familiar already with. The most common one is to deal with arrays, so that's what I'm going to call them. So let's say we want to do something called student. So we're going to use what in another programming language could be a class. Here, we're going to make something called a struct. So a struct, it's going to allow us to define an object that is shaped in a particular way. And let's say this one is going to be called student, and for the lack of a better name, and it's going to have a string with the name of the student, and then we can have unsigned int age. What can we do here? We can create, exactly like we did for our string example, we can create a student. And what we can do, we can make it public. So let's see, first of all, how to deal with a struct. So we're gonna declare a student, first student, and is equal to a student. And we're gonna have values of name, let's say Sam, and then we're gonna have age 22. We can declare this student as public, so that first student can actually appear here. So I hit save, and I'm gonna deploy this new contract. Hit deploy, I get a third version, and as you can see, I have a first student which has no set, but I have a get. So if I click on this get student, I'm gonna get name Sam and age 22. Alright, so we saw this, and now we can actually create, we can actually call it a classroom, which is a collection of students. So we can say student, and with the brackets we have an array, and we're gonna say that this is public, and it's gonna be classroom object. And I wanna show you how to add new items inside this collection. However, before going ahead, I want to show you one thing that could be. So here we declare an array without specifying a size for the array. So this array can have any size, 0 element, 1 element, 100 elements, any number of elements that you want. However, you can also specify the size of this collection. So if I say, for example, student, and here I say 2, and I call this couple, what is going to happen is that this couple variable can only contain 2 students at any given time. I cannot have 3, I cannot have 7. Okay, just wanted to make this little digression to explain about the size of the array. But let's go ahead, and now we're going to have this classroom. So we're going to have a function add to class, and this add to class is going to take a string which is going to be stored in memory like we did before, and it's going to have a name, and then it's gonna have a unsigned int, and it's gonna be age, and this function is gonna be public. And now we're gonna add to the classroom dot push, and we're gonna push a student, and the values are name is gonna be name, and age is gonna be age. And now we can save, check if we did any compile error. Looks like we didn't. So we can actually deploy this new function. Been deployed. So that's our latest version, and here we have an add to class, which is a new one. But let's have a look at the classroom first. Here we can actually call coming from index 0, and as you can see there is nothing. Okay, so we can add to class, and let's say I have my own name. Actually, you can expand this and make things a bit easier. So we have my name and age, and we press transact. And now this has been inserted inside my class. So if I go inside my classroom object and now I call it, I can actually retrieve my name and age. And now I can keep adding items. I can do a new transaction. We can add Sam of 22. We can add Fred 239. And now if I call 2, index 2, Fred, age 239. What happens if I call somebody that is not in there? Let's have a look. Let's have a look here inside the compiler. Okay, so we can call, and as you can see, the error was reverted because there is no information available at this location. Okay, so this one, it's how you deal with arrays inside the Solo programming language. That's how you define a struct and how you add to your array. I hope I've been clear and explained this well.